The house on Olive Avenue in Fresno, California, leaned slightly to the left, like it was tired of standing. Paint peeled from its wooden sides in thin, curling strips, revealing layers of forgotten years beneath. In winter, cold air slipped through the cracks around the windows. In summer, the heat settled inside and refused to leave. But to the Harris family, that house small, creaking, and stubborn was home. Evelyn Harris stood at the kitchen sink one early morning, staring out at the quiet stretch of Olive Avenue as the sun rose pale and slow over the neighborhood. The faucet dripped steadily, a sound she had learned to ignore. Behind her, the radio hummed softly with an old gospel song. She tied her hair back, pulled on her worn jacket, and glanced at the clock. It was 5:12 a.m. Another long day was waiting. Her husband, Marcus Harris, sat at the small kitchen table, boots already on, rubbing sleep from his eyes. His lunch, a peanut butter sandwich wrapped in wax paper, lay beside him. Evelyn asked if he wanted the last apple. Marcus shook his head and said the kids needed it more. That was how decisions were made in the Harris house, quiet sacrifices, never announced. They had 3 children: Daniel, 14, thin and serious beyond his years; Lena, 10, curious and stubborn; and Micah, 6, whose laughter still filled rooms even when there was nothing else. Poverty had followed the Harris family like a shadow, never fully touching them, but always close enough to remind them it could. Marcus worked construction when there was work. When there wasn't, he took whatever he could find, hauling scrap metal, fixing fences, painting garages for cash around Fresno. Evelyn cleaned offices at night and worked part-time at a grocery store during the day. They were always tired and always behind, but they were together. By the second week of each month, the cupboards began to thin out. Cans of beans lined the shelves like soldiers. Rice sat in plastic bags. Bread was rationed carefully. Daniel noticed everything. He noticed when Evelyn skipped dinner, claiming she wasn't hungry. He noticed when Marcus's boots grew holes in the soles. He noticed how his parents spoke in whispers late at night. One evening, Daniel found Marcus sitting on the porch steps, staring down Olive Avenue as traffic passed in the distance. Marcus told him quietly that the company was laying people off and work was slowing down. Daniel nodded, unsure what to say. Marcus added quickly that he would find something else, that he always did. Daniel believed him, because Marcus Harris had never let them down, not even when life tried its hardest. The first real spark came from an unexpected place. One afternoon, Evelyn received a call from Daniel's school counselor, who told her that her son had a gift for mathematics. The counselor spoke about test scores, advanced problem solving, scholarships, and opportunities. Evelyn's hands shook as she held the phone. That night, she told Marcus everything. Marcus listened in silence, then leaned back and said they would help him. When Evelyn reminded him they didn't have much, Marcus replied that they would find a way. They always did. Daniel began staying late at school, studying, tutoring other students for a few dollars. Lena helped Evelyn clean offices in the evenings. Micah learned early how to entertain himself quietly. Life was still hard. The car broke down twice that year. The heater failed during a cold Central Valley winter. Evelyn cried in the bathroom one night, silent so the children wouldn't hear. But something had changed. There was direction now, and a sense that maybe this wasn't the end of the story. The breaking point came when Marcus fell from scaffolding. It wasn't dramatic. No headlines. Just a slip, a sharp pain, and months of recovery. Medical bills stacked up like threats. The house on Olive Avenue grew quieter. One night, Marcus stared at the ceiling and whispered that he was failing his family. Evelyn reached for his hand and told him no, that he was teaching their children how to survive. Daniel earned a partial scholarship to a California state university. The night the letter arrived, Lena screamed, Micah danced around the living room, and Evelyn cried openly. Marcus folded the letter carefully and placed it on the table like something sacred. He said it wasn't just Daniel's achievement, it belonged to all of them. College was not easy. Daniel worked 2 jobs and slept 4 hours a night. Sometimes he called home just to hear Micah's voice. Lena discovered a love for writing and filled notebooks with stories about brave girls and broken houses that turned into castles. Evelyn enrolled in night classes for bookkeeping. Marcus, once healed, started a small handyman business with borrowed tools and borrowed hope. Progress was slow. There were setbacks, failures, and moments when quitting felt easier. But each year, they stood a little taller. Bills got paid on time. The fridge stayed full. The house on Olive Avenue received fresh paint. Daniel graduated first in the family. Lena won a statewide writing contest. Micah grew into a teenager who understood his parents' struggle and honored it. The real moment didn't come with fireworks. It came on a quiet Sunday afternoon. They sat together at a new table in a new home, not large, but solid. Sunlight poured through wide windows. The air smelled like fresh coffee and cinnamon. Marcus looked around and laughed softly, asking if they remembered the old house on Olive Avenue. Evelyn smiled and said it never broke them. Daniel raised his glass to where they came from. Lena added a toast to where they were going. Micah just smiled, full and safe and dreaming. Poverty had taken comfort, rest, and years from them, but it did not take love. It did not take dignity, and it did not take hope. The Harris family rose not by luck, not by miracles, but by stubborn faith in each other. And in the end, that was enough.